it so do we have in total? 1 hour and a half.
And after?
After this lunch. So if we slide a little bit this
Should we
Yeah.
start with
Yeah, yeah.
It's already
That's why.
11.
This is an extraordinary huge room, huh? Because it's already a lot of people. The room is so big. Yesterday when I came here, kind of feel overwhelmed. Try to. Yeah, 5 minutes and then we'll start. Eu acho que vamos ter que começar, não é? Isso, as pessoas estão a mandar mensagens e dizer já vou para aí. Que é às 11h30. E sabe o que é chato no meio disto tudo? Eu se ponho a primeira oradora a falar. É que o meu problema é isso. Dia. Bom dia. Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry there was a little bit delayed because so we are trying here to balance between. But I think we can. Let's move on. Ok, again, bom dia a todos. Bom dia a Coimbra. Bem-vindos a Coimbra mais uma vez. Sei que já cá estão há um dia na língua de trabalho. Voltando à língua de trabalho, good morning everyone. Welcome to this panel on women and addressing the challenges of sustainable development. And I think that this is going to be a very interesting panel. We are going to address some of the challenges on realizing the problem. We are going to focus on investing in women and in all this program, all women's health. And I think some of you want decisions for now. You want us to decide that you are here. You have appointments that are. I'm going to take your silence as an agreement with what. Listen to the amazing panel together, and I will start by giving their professional life as OB-GYN. Later on in Mozambique and South Africa. His mandate was to Marley in pregnancy. She became the Belgium, ran for national elections, and she was parliamentarian for WHO as director for in 20 and after retiring from WHO, she went. I need glasses.
Obrigada, thank you, Monica. Monica has already in that part of the world with about a lot of HIV pregnancy. I have to learn how to many issues and patients, but also and very little ultrasound at risk or who came with problems of philanthropy to I think in general to this community of a photographer, journalist, very nice book, still a lot of work is nice, they speak for themselves, I think. And I think with a fetoscope, it's great. But what if you don't hear it? And you don't have anything else, you don't have a Doptone, you don't have a CTG, you don't have an ultrasound. So how do you, it's not always easy to then implement good protocols. Called gentle assisted pushing. And that's what we see very often, and not only in Africa. Here we have, I think, Ukraine, I'm not sure anymore. And this is also, for me, a very striking picture. You see two women in green waiting for delivery, for theater. One has two stickers on the head, the other one only one. The two means the mother and the baby are alive. The one means the mother is alive, the baby has died already. And this is a real big problem. I don't have time to talk about cesarean section epidemics. That's for another meeting, but we see that a lot of C-sections are done on women with stillbirths, which is also, in my view, another kind of sign of disrespect for women. Because, of course, this is our, after 2 hours, the babies in the maternity where I used to work were kind of put together before they left labor ward. So this is the harvest of 2-3 hours working in maternity. So just to end, we did do a lot of work also in Mozambique with our NGO. I don't have time. The name of the NGO is ICRH. In Mozambique, it's a research NGO. In Belgium, Europe, we have created it as a research center at the university, and we work with the University of Eduardo Mondlane, with the government, with other NGOs, with a National Institute for... Now, to end, I would like to show you, and I hope it works, but maybe some assistance. This is a video, one of my students, who is a midwife, she made together with the people in Mozambique, involving
pai de
fathers.
casa que só a porta fica, né? A esposa vai a machamba, faz aquilo. Ela passa a ser provedora daqui de casa. Essas coisas que eu detesto. Eu quero que mesmo haja mudança agora.
Na verdade, porque este tempo é outro. Deve mudar. Saber amar. Amar a tua esposa. Educar os filhos, cuidar dos filhos.
Temos que ter uma nova vida, um novo amor, vivermos bem nas nossas famílias. Não tem trabalho do homem, não tem trabalho de uma mulher. Todo o trabalho é nosso.
Eu posso dizer de que são poucos homens aqui na zona que eu vejo a fazer aquilo que eu faço. Não estaria a dizer aqui de que estou a ajudar, não estou a ajudar a minha esposa. Eu me sinto como meu dever aquela tarefa.
Nos dias que ela vai à consulta, se eu não tenho muito trabalho para fazer, sempre saio com ela e a acompanho. Por gostar dela, por sentir que eu também tenho que fazer parte disso.
Porque a gravidez é nossa, não é só dela, é nossa.
Thank you very much. Muito obrigado.
Thank you. To end this first presentation, now I'm going to give the floor to Jay. We'll keep on doing this in English. Ian, and went to this experience also led to reproductive health and 1993 and some research. He worked in the U.S. Gates Fund, worked in more than acting deputy director for maternal, newborn, and child health in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on innovation, implementation research, demo for scale.
Melinda Gates Foundation does recap a few things about global development. Have an even shorter period, 1960, this time, in the same time, total popular countries must understand very much. So to cut work very, see the 1 billion people there, services as you in Nigeria. These are the people living in Somalia. And that's where we have the challenge now we must concentrate more. People also have a much, so therefore our challenge is poverty and the global maternal mortality go down. Well, a country have now Democratic Republic, and this 20 years, Lancet Public giving that, but it explained. I started as but it's very difficult to give a few examples. If you remember Marlene, most of the women, it comes like a lightning bolt feeds floor, and what can we do about it? Very cheap, 90s who are by devices, but the last thing. I'm speaking about the assembly, the little plastic saves 97% blood pressure. They're dying now. These postpartum. Neonatal mortality is also falling. We have to work hard on that. Let me sum up. Fertility decline and to women's empowerment. Changes in the world in the last 50 years to now let's accelerate it. We can. Here's a Gavi, the Melinda. Thank you so much for your attention.
I don't know if presentation but that's not the reason why I was invited. I'm the direct fund. It has been some of the wonderful planning 2020, the H6. It's been a year. Actually, it was as a parliamentarian. I ran background is on international relations. And of course, we those who are rich and those who are of the world population, we call it inequality. Of course, in economic inequality to access to reproductive health, and have the less often to become pregnant, to quality care during public space, be it and have not. Inequality, people who cannot complete and cannot charge the wonderful resource we tackle in the poorest women to make their decisions to peace and to their development goals. And the in developing countries, there's now more than, and they grow 8 to 9 and other services. It was also demonstrated that in 17 times, but the fact, and we also like to call your attention to the life scenario is still the recommended amount of health care they need. More women, we were 40 million with UNFPA 0.6, and those two mature points, we trained thousands of more girls with life skill programs and female genital mutilation. Because we are anxious and face danger in services and coordinate. You've been at the forefront refugees in the world. Me just today, and I was when I'm in crisis. Women, they still have cities have to do with menstrual hygiene. You can still see that in some cases there's a lack of visibility, and if it's not visible, it will not get a resting. How we, the more we learn to require, in our latest strategic, of course, we do impact on ourselves with what we call the 3 zeros. 0 unmet need for family planning, 0 preventable maternal mortality, and 0 gender practices like child early forced marriage or female genital mutilation. And why did we do it? We did it in a world where every pregnancy is wanted. Understand that in order to do that and to deliver on the full promise behind, we need to reach women and adolescents. We know that we are going with some of the state and adolescent girls everywhere can prevent and free from violence. This is our. Thank you. I'm going to give the floor to the speaker, Dr. Magda Oster. He leads the professional expertise in public health, spans over 20 both the public and WHO. She received her medical degree from the University of Laval, Canada. Magda, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Monica. Good afternoon, honorable ministers, my fellow panelists. You may have in your hub information that this talk was going to be given by Dr. Kabore for him. So I hope I will do as great a job as he would do if he was here. Do we do to help countries and how do we see losers supported to on the issue of inequalities, something that we need more aggressive way, and that will, which is how do we on women's health. I will give you statistics about the situation in the African region, in sub-Saharan Africa, that will bring everyone in this room. You are all aware of the time is now. Women need to be women cannot be left behind. Need 2030 SDGs. Years old are among less. That tells you 3 are the corresponding statistic are much less. New cases of HIV are 10 times higher among in the African region. If currently married or young, 10% of them don't have control over their sexual and reproductive health. That means they will have children, economic power to decide on all. The increase, only 23% of urban married adolescent girls and young women who live in. Also, I want you to know that globally, twice as of how do so leading and access to health. Now and mobilize if we don't bring men along. Global move, boy child at home with our adolescent boys, with our spouses, with our counterparts in the office. We need to involve men if we are going to succeed. Men, maternal and newborn and communities. Efforts in support of education, but those men who have been successfully involved and are actively playing a role are very few to make a difference. Where the criticism to bring the women on the panel or to the board is so high that people are increasingly careful on how gender meeting rooms, for example, leadership to support the cause, but we need to do more. The challenges in Africa are either emerged with resultant humanitarian and refugee situations or experience. Despite increasing female participation in politics and governance, in some of the countries, women and girls still suffer daily in Lusophone countries in Africa, which countries are improved women health outcomes as a result of near universal health coverage and decriminalization of abortion. Women and girls in other countries are facing gender-specific risk, female genital mutilation, to early forced marriage and restricted access. Achieving active empowerment and rights rather than focusing on countries' balance and reduce gender in health strategic plans, incorporating very high impact evidence-based interventions which are aligned to the global strategy for General Assembly. Also provide gender exit meeting in the office.
Applaud and subscribe. Okay, we know that aware of that. Questions, you know, I don't see very well.
Small things have a great impact of the system.
Good morning. My name is Elsa. Going to do what if?
I have another one there to my right.
Thank you so much. We are all it. I would ask because we know we have a lack of people, and I talked to for my.
I see someone running, so I guess we have another question there.
To ask also a bit top-down always, and I would like to comment on what type of interventions, even if leaders are reached, and it's how can we be more effective in bringing it to local lead, cover the research.
You don't mind because you'll be left to last. You can start, you can pick on the question because I think they were all great.
Yeah, thanks. I'm not going to respond to all the questions, but maybe just to two where I think I can contribute something, and CDs, and to put that much heights, and women do come late, and there are issues with screening progress where there is also a clear approach towards cancer, a lot already. And so you have to do it, the whole program. HPV is sketchy, you have some demonstration, we suffer pilotitis, but we pilot and then we, so we have to think, and I think there are some good examples. And the community, and I'm a strong believer in of NGO from the public health facilities, and then working, starting with a good medical protocol that the victim justice, with religious leaders, with civil society, with the community, and with the schools. So now it's kind of a community approach, which is very, very more NGOs or UN or whoever who is the governor, the deputy governor. I think that is important, and to end an unhealth volunteers. And they try to get so on. We were at immortality in that community.
Just two quick reactions how to treat manage how in HIV treatment. HIV programs are fairly treat syphilis where there is resistance against penicillin. Why are we even dealing with HIV when we can't really address syphilis? There is now a dual test, cheap dual test in the antenatal care where you can test pregnant woman for both diseases, both conditions at the same time, give her the benzathine penicillin, and then start the ARV treatment if that's what she wants. So that's one example. The other comes very close to your home,
and that's the improving the capacity in midwifery skills around birth, of course, and everything a midwife or somebody with midwifery skills does. We attended before you got your diploma. At that time is what, 50? International Confederation of Midwives says. But actually, the most important delivery room is a person that we usually call una enfermera partera, that she really has the capacity to decide. So work on those in twinning and capacity strengthening. We need that. Just 2 examples.
On the issue of technical support, WHO, beyond the national programs and partners who provide support, offer remote assistance whenever that is solicited to us. We'll be more than happy to work with you and provide you all the guidance that you need so that we enable you to do a better job in supporting countries. Definitely. Thank you.
HPV and on the cervical cancer, it's a priority for us also. But Elsa was right, it was out of the narrative that we put here together, but of course it's also very relevant because we are discussing that health is an investment. It shouldn't be seen as a cost, but also health has a business case. It means that healthy workers, they spend less money to health systems, they are more productive, they have less economic rationale to make behind it. And also on midwives. As I think everyone here 2 weeks ago, we were listening to the description of release, a team of midwives, because in the middle of all this crisis, there's always pregnant women who've just delivered. So it's a good point. But on the community engagement, I can give you just one example. UNFPA runs with UNICEF the biggest program on female genital mutilation, and our entry point is community. It's how we work, it's on community-driven processes, it's on getting their voices, as Marlene was saying, but also empowering them on how to use the wonderful resources that are worldwide available, but that sometimes don't trickle down, and I think that's also an excellent point. But I think that we need to finish the session with, I know that some of you would like to keep on discussing. I think it was in your panel yesterday that Felix mentioned that we needed 15 days to discuss this. I think this discussion could also take 15 days. But I think that to wrap up, I would just like to say that it's very clear for everyone that health is a human right, but health is also a political decision. And I think that what's very relevant here is that this panel and several other panels have shown that the only way to secure women's human rights is to deliver also on their sexual and reproductive health and rights, is to deliver on their health. If not because it's a human right, then think that it's also an economic decision behind it. There's an economic rationale behind it. We cannot neglect the power of half the population of this planet. We cannot do anything but empower them so that we can unleash the transformative power of half our population, more than half of our population. And I think that's something we can take home with us. We need to empower women. We need to give them access to education. We need them to give them access to family planning, which is also a human right. We need to let our adolescents and our girls stay in school so they can negotiate, so they can get a skill, they can enter the paid labor force, they can learn how to negotiate their place in the society, their place in the political decision making, because health is a political decision. So if we don't empower women and let them be political actors, they will never have a voice in what comes to the decision making about their own lives. And we need to deliver for the SDGs because we cannot leave anyone behind. And because we are in Portugal, let me wrap up with one of my Portuguese favorite authors, Almada Negreiros. Almada Negreiros is an artist because he's a writer, he's a poet, he's a painter, and he used to say in the beginning of on the beginning of the 19th century, on the beginning of the 20th century, sorry, he used to say this sentence that I really like. When I was born, all the sentences that could one day save humankind, they had already been written. all it was left was to save humankind. And I think this is the juncture we are at. Like Turkey was saying, we know how to save lives. We know how to end poverty. And the world will not forgive us if we keep on delaying that delivery. So let's go out, save humanity, and walk the talk. I think it's about time. And I think, and enjoy lunch, I think.
Eu pedi apenas um minuto da vossa atenção para vos dizer que gostaríamos de vos convidar a participar na sessão de apresentação das empresas vencedoras da iniciativa Startup, que irá decorrer já de seguida na Sala Mondego, no segundo andar. Trata-se de uma iniciativa que pretende dar-vos a conhecer e contactarem um conjunto de 12 empresas